Well, Retro World Expo 2019 is done and over with. I had so much fun as always, and there's so many people that I could thank right now for just being totally awesome. And that's pretty much anybody I encountered this past weekend. So if I ran into you, you're pretty awesome. What do we have today? Well, we're doing a mail call and some pickups from the expo. I got some really good deals. I got a lot of free stuff, a lot of random stuff. And so I figured I'd show you. So first we're going to do a mail call. These are two video game music vinyl records that I have been waiting on, one of which I've been waiting for several months. So I figured I'd take the time, since I just got them in the mail, to open them. So we're going to do the first one. Boop. This one is from Data Disc. They make a lot of Sega stuff. Sega related content. Oh, there's an open tab. Alright, this record is a vinyl that's been out of print for a while now, probably about 2-3 years. But they recently got reprinted, and I was like, I have to snatch this up. And it is Golden Axe 1 and 2. Super awesome. The art on these is fantastic. And I'm really glad that I was able to pick this up. So, yeah, Golden Axe 1 and 2. I'm gonna go ahead and open it real quick. I generally don't take the plastic off if I buy something new for records, but I don't know. Maybe I will with this one because it's really shiny. So first off, they give you these really awesome postcard things, like little poster thingies. And here's the art from Golden Axe 2. Speaking of really cool Golden Axe art, did anybody see those posters that got printed like a couple years ago? There were only like, I think, 100 made or something like that, but those were gorgeous. I love the Golden Axe one. And what I was going to try to do is take a picture of it and like a really high quality picture of it and figure out a way to actually just print my own poster, because the posters were expensive. They were like 100 something bucks, and I was like, I'm not paying 100 something bucks for a poster. So yeah, unfortunately the image quality was too low, but Sega did like they hired a bunch of like artists to do like new inspired like classic redraws, and they did like Golden Axe, Jet Set Radio, or Jet Grind Radio. They did Toe Jam and Earl, I think, Streets of Rage. They did a bunch, so they're really cool. I'll link down below if I end up finding it. Here's the record. It's really pretty. Alright, here's the one that I've been really excited to get. This is from Materia Collective, and well, it is not an official soundtrack, but it is a fan reimagining, I guess you could say. And this is the first time that it's been on vinyl. It had a Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter was for the first CD, and then they made a second CD's worth of music. And so, wow, this is packaged really nicely. It was $35 and then $10 for shipping, whereas the data disc was cheaper. But I gotta say, this is really gorgeous. So that's like a foil, kind of like embossed. It's called Resurrection of the Night Alucard's Elegy. Elegy? Never know how to say that. Alright. I am going to open this because it is a gatefold. Oh, it's really shiny. Doot, doot, doot. Really cool. Alright, so we'll open this bad boy. Ooh. Fancy. That's pretty freaking cool. Very beautiful cover. And there's some kind of... Oh, okay. Wow, this is pretty diesel. So the album was produced by Wayne Strange and Tim Stoney. And yeah, so it's got a bunch of different songs on it, and they're all redone. And looks like there's the Kickstarter backers and everything. And I think they got Konami's approval for this, I think. And let's take a look at the record. Okay. It's one vinyl. One black vinyl. This is not the limited edition, which was like a crazy, like different colors, like almost like a burnt color, I think. But no, this looks really cool. I dig it. So I am looking forward to listening to that. I wish I got the limited edition, but I was not a Kickstarter backer. I just found out about it recently. And I listened to some of the tunes online, was like, this record is going to be bumping. I got to play this. And I'm glad that it was able to ship in time for the Halloween season too, since, you know, that's Castlevania season right there. Alright, so those are the records. So now I'm going to show you everything that I got at Retro World Expo. Typically when I do these Retro World Expo pickups, I kind of like to give like stories behind this, so this may get a little long, but I'll try to keep it as short as possible. One of the first booths that I went to, because I kind of walked the floor, ran into my buddy Square Painter and his girlfriend Nina, who does Tiny Ninja art, and I was looking around, and I finally found a seller that was selling like boxes and manuals. And I'm like, oh cool, I love getting boxes and manuals. That's kind of one of the things that I'm looking for. Hey Zelda, what you doing? I feel like that should be somebody else's line to somebody else. Anyways, so I ended up finding a box and a manual for Rambo on the NES. I thought I already owned this one, and it does have the styrofoam. Box is in pretty good shape. This is, I think I paid about $8 for these total. So I'm walking around and I happen to run into Mad Gear Games, also known as this guy Carlson. A really nice guy. I've talked to him a bunch of times. He does only imports. And, well, like, almost all imports. I don't think he sells anything not imported. But it's all like Japanese stuff, Super Famicom, some obscure like Saturn stuff, PC Engine, CD, etc., etc. So, you know, I've chatted with him quite a bit. He's a really nice guy, and so usually I ask him the same question every single time I see him, which is, do you have a copy of Mappy Kids? I've been trying to find Mappy Kids in the wild for a long time now, and I think I'm just going to have to break down and, you know, get it from, you know, eBay or Japan or something like that. And he said, nope, don't have it. So then I've been kind of on a Lupin the Third kick for a little while. So I asked him if he had any of the Lupin games for either Famicom or Super NES. And it turns out he did. This is the Super Famicom Lupin the Third game. This is a platformer. You don't really need to know Japanese to play it. And it's a pretty cool game. At least I think it is. So I watched a little bit of gameplay footage for it, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to pick it up. There has been no English translation for this game, unfortunately, so this is literally the only way to play it, either that or on emulator. And again, no English translation. So, he wanted $45 for it. I managed to talk him down to $40, which is a pretty good deal. I think, yeah, this is, oh, no, wait, no, there was one other thing that I bought that was the same price as this, but this was the most that I spent on one single item. I tend to not buy games for really expensive prices. Like, I don't go for like the $90 to $100 games. I don't go for like the $200, $300 games. Very, very rarely do I do that. For me, it's all about videos like this because I get to showcase all the quality and quantity that I got. So in my opinion, I'd rather spend, you know, $200 or $300 and get a ton of assortment of stuff than spend $200 or $300 and get like one game. This is my thought. So again, I'm continuing to walk around and I end up finding this. This is the Tomb Raider 1 and Tomb Raider 2 strategy guides. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people may be saying, but wait a minute, don't you already have those? Well, I kind of did. This is weird. I'll explain. So, I've been collecting the Tomb Raider strategy guides for a while, but I kind of ran out of room for strategy guides, like, period. And so I decided to sell all my Tomb Raiders because I ended up finding a separate guide that had all 5 of the first, like, console Tomb Raiders. So I sold all those to a good buddy of mine, and I ended up finding this one because that one was, like, incomplete. Like, it had snippets of what you should do in the games, but it wasn't like a full walkthrough. This was a full walkthrough, and it's one guide. It's the size of one guide, and yeah. So I picked this up. It also has a weird paper doll. I guess like you cut Lara Croft out of this thing, and she's wearing like a bikini or like a bra and panties or whatever. And then you can put her clothes on her, like paper clothes on her, which I thought that was weird. And then they've got, I don't know. I probably won't take this out just because, I mean, it's, I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird. I've never seen anything like that before, except like in like Nintendo, like in Nintendo Power. So I thought it was pretty neat, and I try to collect strategy guides that are neat. So yeah, this is back in my collection. Okay, so the other games that I got were all a bundle deal. So the first was Turok 3. Now this is rewrapped in shrink wrap. So if you take this out of the box, it is, which I'll show you, it's in okay shape. The only unfortunate part is that there's a Blockbuster sticker underneath the shrink wrap. So this was obviously like resealed by Blockbuster. So if I try to remove it, it's going to be pretty easy. All I need is a heat gun and just go along the box. I'll probably do it in a future noob repair. I think I may have done that in other... Yeah, I think I have done that video on noob repair. If I have, it'll appear somewhere on here. But anyways, so this is not complete, unfortunately. It has the game, but it does not have the manual. So I am looking for a manual for this. And unfortunately, it also has on the back a sticker as well. So I need to do a heat gun on that to remove that as well. But is what it is. Anyway, so the box, not in the greatest shape, but it's in, the rest of the box is in okay shape, aside from like this part where the flaps were, those are the most beat up. But I don't know, I was watching a review of this and it looked pretty cool, so I figured I'd grab it. So with that, because this is sold by my buddy Ernie, and Ernie wanted $50 for it without a manual, and so I wanted to pay less. So I was like, let me work out a deal. And he was like, yeah, if you buy a couple games, then sure, no problem. So that is exactly what I did. So I ended up picking up Spider on the PlayStation 1. I will be reviewing this. It is a Patreon reward. One of my patrons wanted me to review it, and I specifically went to the con to look for this game as well as Turok 3. So I found exactly what I was looking for. This sticker says 18. I did not pay 18. I'll explain how much I paid in a sec. And then finally, Lost Vikings, which is on Genesis. So I picked that up as well. So that was 10 for Lost Vikings. Spider was 18, and this game was 50. So I said, give me $60 for all of it. I think I said 50, and then it was like 60. Cool. So I don't have a manual for this, gotta get a manual. And this, so basically I got this for free, if you think about it like that. So that was pretty much all the stuff that I bought day one at Retro World Expo. Day two was a little bit more purchasing. I got a little bit more shopping happy as far as buying stuff. So I came back to the con on Sunday and was walking around and did most of my shopping in the morning. So the very first vendor that I ran into I don't remember the name of the vendor, but they were willing to work out a deal for a bunch of stuff that I saw. My big thing was I was looking for some specific manuals and boxes to complete some complete in-box games. One of the boxes that I found was GoldenEye. Now, this is not in great shape, and there's a reason why it was $5. It's one of those kinds of games that'll be looking good if it's in like a box protector, which I'll probably end up swapping Turok out so I can put this in a box protector. This does not have a manual, but it does have the insert itself. But he wanted $5 for it, and I wanted it for less. So I said, you know what, let me see what else you got. He also had a Battletoads manual for the Game Boy. I needed this because I recently picked up a box for Battletoads. So I had the game, I had the box, and I did not have the manual. So I was lucky enough to get the manual. And this is a super, super crisp manual. It's like brand freaking new. Look at that. Very impressive. So he wanted $8 for the manual. On top of that, I found a couple other games that I really wanted to get. The first of which was Rambo. I don't own Rambo. I specifically went home and checked, and yeah, I don't have Rambo. So, yeah, $4. Then the next game on the list was Sega Classics Collection. This is a collection that I have owned previously, but I got rid of it years ago, and I don't know why, because it had a version of not only Golden Axe, but also Alien Syndrome that I really liked, and it had a version of Outrun and Space Harrier, Virtual Racing, Monaco GP, Tant R, Bonanza Brothers, Fantasy Zone, and Columns. So some really cool games in here. They're all redone, like redone versions of classics, but I specifically bought it for Golden Axe and Alien Syndrome because they've redone games and redone soundtracks. And I remember them being a little clunky, if I recall, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Anyways, I did not want to pay $10 because I see this everywhere for $10. So between this, the manual, and this, it was what, 5, 10, that's 15, 19, and then what, 27, right? I don't know, I'm terrible at math, and or at least math off the top of my head. And so I said, would you do 20 for the whole lot? And he said, yeah, sure, $20, pretty good price. Always good to bundle up. I'd like to do a video someday on cons and purchasing at cons, because I hear a lot of complaints from a lot of people that say, oh, you know, any good deals when I go to cons. Well, there's a couple things you could do. I also really wanted to find a copy of Subterranea. It's a really cool game with some really neat music, and I didn't own it for whatever reason. It's a pretty common game. So I found it here at a buddy of mine's booth for $7, and asked him for, I think, 5 or 4. I think 4, then he said 5. So I ended up getting it for 5, which is a pretty average price. I also wanted to pick up a copy of this, Taz Wanted. This is on the Xbox, but it also came out on like GameCube, PS2, PC, etc. It is complete. And I wanted to get this because it looks really cool. And the music is really good too. We actually are going to be featuring a track off of this on a future XVGM radio. So I wanted to check it out. It looked really neat. And I think the seller was selling it for 10. And I talked him down to 5, and he was cool with that. So I got the game for 5, which is a good price. All right, now, here's some really cool stuff that I got. I have been wanting to find a box for Battle of Olympus for a while. So I did happen to find the box. I already had the game, and I already had the manual. So now I have it complete in box, which is pretty dope. I've had that for a while, actually, so I'm glad to complete a copy. It just feels so good to complete a copy of a game. So, here's the deal, though. This did not catch my eye initially, but this did. Turtles 3 box. Now, here's the thing. It's not in good shape at all. This was sitting in like a bargain bin box, but it wasn't labeled bargain bin. The guy was just kind of like, I don't know, man, that's pretty beat up. I was like, yeah, it's pretty beat up. If this dude said any more than $5, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. But so we asked the owner, and he was like, hey, what about that Turtles box? And he looks at it, he takes one look at it, and he goes, oh, just buy something else and I'll give it to you for free. I was like, huh? Because here's the thing, the rest of the box looks really great. Like, if I told you, like, if I just showed this to you, it was like, hey, look at my Turtles 3 box, you'd be like, oh, that looks really cool. Oh, whoops, it's missing a top. So, this caught my eye, and I said, how about if I buy Battle of Olympus, how much would that cost? And he was like, I don't know, $10. And I was like, done. So I got both of these boxes. This one for free, this one for $10. So now, I don't have a manual for this, but I do get to put the box in the box. Yeah. At this point, I had 2 panels that were going on that I had to kind of go back to back for. So I did a little bit more shopping, but honestly, I couldn't really find anything. There was a couple things that I wanted to buy, but I was like, you know what, let me hold off. Let me go back. So I'm walking around, and I had entered a contest on Saturday, and the guy said, come back at 2 o'clock. We're doing a drawing for everybody for all the stuff that they can win. So I happened to win, because I went back there. I was like, oh, I got my ticket. And he's like, oh, let me check to see if you won. So I did, in fact. I won a Amiibo, and it was for Ness. And I'm not a fan of Ness and Earthbound, but I said thanks, and I took it. And I went back to my buddy Ernie's booth because I was storing my stuff there, all my equipment for my panels. So I happened to come across this and thought to myself, huh, it looks like RoboCop on VHS, but it's not. It's a Funko thing. You could buy it like Target or one of those, and it's a t-shirt. So I saw it, and he had it on sale for $10, and I was like, dude, this is dope. So I asked him, I was like, what do you want for that? And he was like, for you? I don't know, $5. So I was like, all right, cool. So I brought back that Amiibo and was like, hey, instead of me giving you $5, you want this Amiibo? He's like, yeah, sure. So he took the Amiibo, put it on his rack, 'cause he was selling Amiibos. And I got this for free, technically. Didn't pay a dime. The shirt is my size, and it does fit. And it's super cool. It's I think it's cooler than the other RoboCop shirt that I have. How dope is that? That is all the stuff that I got at Retro World Expo. I wanted to go back and get a little bit more and go and get some artist stuff. I didn't even buy a painting from my buddy Square Painter, so I was going to go back and do that. I had so much more buying that I wanted to do, but unfortunately, the panel that I was in was the last panel of the show, and the vendors were closed at that point, so I was not able to go back and buy anything else, which is a shame, but probably good because I would have spent all the rest of the money that I had. So, those are the pickups that I got. What did you think of my pickups? What do you think is the best game that I picked up? What do you think of those records? Pretty cool, right? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider a subscription. Doesn't cost you a dime. Just got to click that button. Also, I do have a Patreon. I figured I'd mention it. It's patreon.com/dongold, or just go on Patreon and type in Dongold and you'll find it. Even $1 gets you a little bit of coolness and a little bit of behind the scenes for the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. More Retro World Expo videos on the way.